You're digging through an old jar of pennies in your garage, pennies you almost threw away years ago, when suddenly, you find a coin so rare, so outrageously valuable, it could transform your entire life overnight. But here's the twist, this isn't some ancient Roman treasure or a solid gold doubloon. No, this is a 1967 Lincoln penny, a single copper cent with no mint mark. A coin that looks so ordinary, most people toss it aside without a second thought. And yet, under the right circumstances, this penny can fetch up to $999,000 on the private market. Sounds impossible? That's exactly what thousands of collectors thought, until they saw the auction hammer slam down and someone walk away with nearly $1 million richer, all from a coin worth just 1 cent on paper. But what makes this 1967 penny so special? Why are collectors fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on it? Let's rewind to 1967, a year marked by the Summer of Love, the peak of the space race, and a hidden story unfolding at the U.S. Mint. At that time, the mint was under massive pressure. Coin shortages were causing panic, and mint officials decided to drop mint marks entirely for that year to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. They wanted circulation coins to stay in the economy. But what they didn't expect were the small, microscopic mistakes that would creep into certain pennies, creating a handful of legendary rarities. These errors were never supposed to happen. Some coins featured double dies, others had extraordinary striking mistakes or bizarre off-center impressions. But the most coveted? The extremely sharp, fully struck 1967 Lincoln penny with absolutely no mint mark and subtle doubling on Lincoln's profile and lettering. Only a few exist in pristine condition. Now pause for a moment, think about this. You might have one of these sitting in an old coin jar, forgotten in a dusty attic, or buried under junk in your car's cup holder. Just imagine the thrill of realizing you've been sitting on a small fortune this whole time, but how do you know if you hold the $1 million version? First, condition is everything. Collectors crave flawless surfaces, crisp details, and almost untouched luster. Even the smallest nick can slash its value in half. Then, look for doubling around Lincoln's eye, his bow tie, and the letters in Liberty. Some of these error coins are so scarce, experts believe fewer than 20 examples exist in high mint state condition. Why would someone pay almost $1 million for a penny? It's simple: rarity, history, and the promise of owning something no one else in the world has. For a serious collector, it isn't just about metal, it's about a story. A hidden mistake that slipped past government eyes, a secret that only the sharpest, most dedicated treasure hunters ever uncover. Ask yourself, would you recognize this treasure if it slipped through your hands? Or would you unknowingly spend it on a morning coffee, sending a fortune back into circulation forever? Imagine the horror. Let's reset for a second. Think about all the dreams you have that feel impossible: a private lake house, paying off every debt you owe, traveling first class to Paris without ever checking your bank balance. Now realize, all of that might be sitting inside an old shoebox. It almost sounds too good to be true, and that's exactly why so many people miss it. What's even crazier? Some of these 1967 era pennies have been sold privately, off record, to hush-hush collectors for amounts rumored to cross $1 million. Because when a passionate collector wants something unique enough, they don't care what it costs. If you're sitting there thinking, there's no way I have this, remember, someone else thought the same before finding a penny that changed their life. The difference between them and you? They decided to look. So here's what you need to do. Find a magnifying glass, grab every 1967 penny you can find, and start examining each one carefully. Check the lettering, Lincoln's face, the edges. Look for any sign of doubling or unusual striking errors. When in doubt, consult a professional coin grading service. Because a coin graded MS-67 or higher, with that elusive error, could put you into an entirely new tax bracket overnight. I want you to imagine for a moment, standing in front of an auction house stage, as the final bid closes at $999,000, and that check is handed to you. Your entire life flashes before your eyes. The fear of monthly bills. Gone. The burden of student loans. Erased. The stress of worrying about retirement. Dissolved. All thanks to a single, forgotten penny. The question is, will you take this chance? Or will you let the possibility slip into oblivion like so many others before you? Your future is hiding in plain sight, behind a tiny copper coin from 1967 with no mint mark. You don't need to dig for gold in the mountains or dive to the bottom of the sea. The treasure is already here, waiting, quietly whispering your name, because in the end, it's not just about money, it's about seizing that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. About turning an ordinary moment into an extraordinary legacy. And maybe, just maybe, this penny is your golden ticket. Now, go find it. Penny so elusive and misunderstood that most people have tossed it away without a second glance, completely unaware that it could be worth nearly $991,000 today. That penny? The 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny. But why is this ordinary-looking coin creating extraordinary waves among collectors? And what secret markings could turn your humble jar of change into a fortune? Tonight, we're diving deep into a story of forgotten value, hidden mistakes, and the dream of living a life most people only imagine. Because if you think a penny can't change your destiny, think again. That in 1973, millions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the Denver mint presses. Most were flawless soldiers, ready to serve in soda machines and cash registers. But a few, a mysterious few, carried a tiny error so rare that only a handful have been discovered. Imagine holding one in your palm, not realizing you're clutching a life-altering ticket out of your routine life. Would you recognize it? Or would you let it slip through your fingers forever? People often ask, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? The answer is simple: rarity and the story behind the flaw. One such 1973 penny, with an obscure double-die reverse error, shocked the numismatic world when it fetched close to $991,000 at a private auction. A small twist of fate, a slip in the minting process, turned a common coin into a legend. Just think, that same coin could be hiding in your drawer right now, quietly waiting for you to wake up to its worth. Can you feel the chill down your spine? That shiver of excitement? That's the feeling collectors chase for a lifetime. The chance to uncover a modern treasure in the most unexpected place. You might be thinking, how do I know if I have the one? What if I've already spent it on coffee, or worse, given it away as change? Hold on. We're about to reveal how you can become the hero of your own financial fairy tale. Every rare coin tells a story, and this penny story is about the silent power of mistakes. During the 1973 production run at the Denver Mint, a few dies were misaligned or engraved improperly, creating a bold doubling effect on the reverse design. Look closely at the lettering and the Lincoln Memorial. If you see strong doubling, your heart might just skip a beat. This is the moment where everything changes, where a penny transforms into a near $1 million miracle. Some people spend their entire lives searching for this mistake, crawling through dusty coin jars and old estate sales. Meanwhile, you might be sitting on a jackpot without even knowing it. Imagine the faces of your friends and family when they learn you cashed in a penny for more than most people make in a decade. Would you retire early? Travel the world? Or finally build that dream home by the ocean? Now, let's be honest. Most 1973 pennies won't make you rich overnight. But what if you're the one in a million? The one who pulls out that fateful coin from a jar on a rainy afternoon and feels the weight of destiny shift in your hands? It's not just about the money, it's about the story you get to tell for the rest of your life. The legacy. The escape from a life of quiet struggles and endless bills. That's the magic that keeps collectors up at night. You might be wondering right now, how do I check my coins properly? You don't need fancy tools or a degree in numismatics. A simple magnifying glass and patience are your keys. Examine every detail of the Lincoln Memorial. Inspect the letters United States of America, the E pluribus unum motto, and look for any doubling or distortion. If you find something suspicious, don't rush to sell. Consult with a certified coin expert or a reputable grading service. Because an authentic double-die error on a 1973 penny could catapult your entire financial future into a new dimension. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing you're no longer tied down by money worries. No more dreading the next credit card bill. No more sacrificing dreams for necessities. All because you paid attention to a coin most people overlook. Think of the possibilities. Would you finally take that cross-country road trip you've always dreamed of? Buy that Harley Davidson and ride into the sunset? Or simply enjoy watching the sunrise from your private balcony every morning, knowing you played your cards right? This is your moment to act. Don't let fear or doubt talk you out of checking that old coffee can under your bed or that forgotten jar in the garage. Because every second that passes is a second closer to someone else discovering their $1,000,000 penny, instead of you. Remember, legends aren't born in grand halls or corporate boardrooms. Sometimes, they're forged in the tiniest details, a swirl of metal, a whisper of error, a single cent that changes everything. The 1973 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny is not just a coin. It's a symbol of second chances, hidden opportunities, and the astonishing power of paying attention. That if you're still here, it means you feel that tug, that electric surge in your veins hinting that maybe, just maybe, you're destined for something greater. That's no accident. That's the universe knocking, reminding you that fortunes don't always come wrapped in golden ribbons. Sometimes, they come disguised as a dusty penny waiting to be found. So tonight, before you sleep, promise yourself one thing: you'll look. You'll check. You'll believe in the possibility of a small copper disc rewriting your entire story. Because the next $1,000,000 penny is out there. And it might just have your name on it. So rare, it could instantly pay off your mortgage, wipe out every single debt you've ever had, and still leave you with enough cash to retire on a private beach in Florida. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But what if I told you there's one humble penny from 1976, a penny that most people wouldn't look at twice, quietly sitting in drawers, hiding in dusty collections, and waiting to explode onto the market for nearly $989,000. Let that sink in. A single 1-cent coin, worth almost $1,000,000. Your life could flip overnight. But here's the twist: most people throw it away, not realizing they're discarding the golden ticket to freedom. Would you risk missing it? Now, you might be asking, how could a 1976 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin millions of Americans touched every day, become so valuable? Well, this is where the story takes a wild turn. You see, 1976 was a monumental year. America was celebrating its bicentennial, the air was electric with pride, and people were obsessed with coins and currency as collectors scrambled to commemorate the 200-year mark. But amidst all the flashy quarters and half dollars that were minted with special designs, the simple Lincoln penny continued its quiet march. At the Philadelphia Mint, they produced the 1976 penny without a mint mark. Most of these were ordinary, worthless beyond a cent. But a microscopic handful came out with shocking errors and striking anomalies that no one expected. Imagine tiny imperfections, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned letters, that transformed an ordinary penny into a jackpot for those few lucky enough to hold one. A coin dealer in California recently sold a 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny for a staggering $989,000 after a heated bidding war that left collectors gasping. Why? Because it had a double die obverse, meaning the front side had slight duplications in the inscriptions and Lincoln's profile, so subtle that only a trained eye would spot it. Imagine selling a penny for the price of a luxury mansion. That's the power of a rare error. Can you feel your pulse quickening? It should. Because every day, thousands of these hidden gems slip away, passed over in change at the grocery store or lost in an old piggy bank. Now, pause for a moment. When was the last time you checked your change? Do you remember those jars of pennies collecting dust in your garage or attic? What if one of them holds the key to a new life? It's a question worth losing sleep over tonight, but let's dig even deeper. Some 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies also display an unusual, floating roof error on the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Instead of the roof lines connecting to the sides, they appear suspended, like an architectural illusion. This mysterious flaw is so rare that collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums for it. If your penny has this floating roof, you could be looking at another six-figure payday. Think about what that money could mean. no more alarms at 5 a.m., no more stressing over bills, no more praying that your car doesn't break down before payday. Instead, imagine endless mornings on the porch, a gentle breeze, and the knowledge that a tiny copper coin made it all possible. Now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have this treasure? First, pick up your 1976 Lincoln penny and look closely at the front. Check the words, Liberty, and, In God We Trust. Are the letters doubled, slightly shadowed, or misaligned? That's your first sign. Then, flip it over. Examine the roof lines of the Lincoln Memorial. Are they floating? If yes, your heart should be pounding right now, but here's the catch: only professional grading can certify your coin and unleash its true value. Do not rush to sell it on a random online marketplace where you'll get pennies on the dollar. Contact a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. These are the gatekeepers of fortune in the coin world. They will evaluate every curve, every groove, every whisper of imperfection, and officially crown your penny as a hidden king. Let's pause again. Why are these errors worth so much? Because they represent a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and collector obsession. The 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a living artifact of American resilience and curiosity during the bicentennial. And if you find one, you're holding a piece of history that could pay you more than a lifetime of working overtime. Imagine sitting at the dinner table tonight, looking at your family and knowing that you hold the answer to every dream you've ever whispered into the dark. No more sacrifices, no more missed vacations, no more skipping dessert to save a few bucks. Just freedom. Complete, unbreakable freedom, all thanks to a copper disc smaller than a bottle cap, and this is not a fantasy reserved for some rich collector or museum vault. This is real. It's happening right now in garages, in sock drawers, in forgotten coin jars across America. But only those who dare to look, who dare to believe, will unlock it. Tonight, when the house is quiet and the world has finally slowed down, pull out those old jars. Sit down under the lamplight. Let your fingers search through the pile of pennies, feel the weight of each one, and imagine the possibilities. Because buried in there might be the single moment that changes everything. Don't wait. Every day you hesitate, someone else cashes in on their hidden treasure. Every hour you delay, another dream slips further away. Check your pennies today, your future might just be waiting for you in copper and zinc. You see, in the world of rare coins, opportunity doesn't knock twice. The universe has already hidden your golden ticket. Now it's up to you to find it before it disappears forever, and when you do, when you finally hold that rare 1976 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in your hand, I want you to remember this moment. Because it won't just be a coin anymore. It'll be the story of how you turned 1 cent into $1 million destiny. The story of how you chose courage over doubt, action over hesitation. Are you ready to find your fortune? The clock is ticking. Your jar is waiting. And your new life is 1 penny away. Now imagine that same penny being worth more than your house, or even your entire retirement fund. What if I told you that there's a 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that could be hiding in plain sight, quietly waiting to transform your entire life? Some collectors have already paid up to $985,000 for pristine examples. You heard that right, nearly $1 million for a coin most people would walk past without a second glance. Most Americans have never even thought twice about pennies minted in 1981. They look ordinary, almost worthless. But what if I told you that beneath that common copper exterior lies a story of confusion, secrets, and a staggering potential payday? Before you toss that change into the tip jar tomorrow, you might want to listen closely. Because this story could change the course of your life forever. In 1981, the US Mint was undergoing a silent transformation. The price of copper was skyrocketing, and the mint had already shifted to using a zinc core coated with copper in 1982. But 1981, that was a turning point. It was the final year before this transition, and during this crucial moment, a strange phenomenon occurred. Many pennies were struck without a mint mark. That might sound trivial, but to a trained eye, it's a treasure map. collectors consider these no-mint mark pennies from 1981 a golden ticket because they represent a rare window into a changing America. Factories were struggling to keep up, errors slipped through, and quality control faltered. These small oversights now command small fortunes on the open market. One perfect, uncirculated 1981 no-mint mark penny recently stunned the numismatic world when it sold for an eye-watering $985,000 at a private auction. Can you imagine handing over a penny and walking away a millionaire? Why would someone pay that much? It's not just about the metal. It's about history, scarcity, and the irresistible allure of owning something almost no one else has. Think about it, how many people today are unknowingly holding onto a piece of American monetary history, too distracted to notice? How many of us are blindly tossing away a small fortune every time we ignore that small, forgotten penny? You might be thinking, how do I know if I have one? And what makes these 1981 no-mint mark pennies truly special? Here's where things get really interesting. First, look at the date. It must be 1981. Next, flip the coin and search for a mint mark below the date. If there's no small d or s, and the coin is in extremely high condition, no scratches, no heavy wear, almost as if it just left the mint, you might be holding onto your ticket to a new life, but don't be fooled. There are millions of ordinary 1981 pennies floating around, and only a few have the specific traits collectors crave: razor-sharp details on Lincoln's bust, strong edges on the lettering, and a clean, pristine surface. Condition is king in the world of rare coins. Even the smallest blemish can drop the value from hundreds of thousands to just a few dollars. Imagine the heartbreak of discovering your penny is almost perfect, but not quite enough to make you a millionaire. Still, every extraordinary story starts with a small step. Maybe tonight, you'll dump out that old jar of coins you keep in the garage. Or maybe you'll check your pocket change after buying a morning coffee. Imagine the feeling of holding a penny in your palm, your heart pounding as you realize you might be staring at a piece of hidden American treasure. A treasure that could wipe out your mortgage, pay off your debts, and fund your dream vacation, all from a coin you thought was worthless. Collectors are already scouring antique shops, estate sales, and online auctions, desperately hunting for these elusive 1981 no-mint mark pennies. Some have spent decades searching, dreaming of that one moment when they finally find it. And the rewards? Beyond imagination. We're talking about transforming a single cent into nearly $1 million, a profit margin that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. But here's a question to keep you up tonight: what if you already have it? What if the key to a new chapter of your life is lying inside a dusty box in your attic? What if the universe is waiting for you to open your eyes and take that first, tiny leap toward unimaginable wealth? The best part: you don't need special tools or insider contacts. You only need curiosity and a willingness to look. Every collector starts as a dreamer, staring into a handful of coins, hoping, imagining. Some give up. But those who persist, they're the ones who change everything. Remember this: the 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than metal. It's a symbol of possibility, of second chances, of hidden abundance hiding in plain sight. While others rush through their days, barely noticing the pennies beneath their feet, a few sharp-eyed believers will walk away with life-changing fortunes. So tonight, after this video ends, take a moment. Empty your change jars. Sort through your old wallets and coin pouches. Run your fingers over each penny, imagining for a second what it would feel like to wake up tomorrow as a newly minted millionaire. Because that feeling, that moment, it's real. And it's waiting for someone just like you. The next time you see a humble, worn penny on the sidewalk, don't pass it by. Stop. Pick it up. Hold it to the light. Because that 1 cent could be the spark that ignites your journey to financial freedom and a life beyond your wildest dreams. Tomorrow's millionaires aren't born. They're made, one careful, curious glance at a forgotten penny at a time. Will you be one of them? The choice, and the coin, might already be in your hands. What if I told you that a tiny, forgotten copper coin from 1984, a penny you might have tossed into a tip jar without a second thought, could transform your entire life? A penny so rare that collectors have fought fiercely over it, and in some secretive auctions, it has fetched up to $979,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a single cent. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you checked your loose change? Right now, that humble penny might be sitting silently in a kitchen drawer, in your car's cup holder, or buried under years of memories in a dusty jar. But here's the haunting question: will you recognize it before someone else does and claims your fortune? In 1984, the United States Mint struck millions of Lincoln cents. On the surface, they looked identical: same face of Abraham Lincoln, same reverse memorial design, same coppery glance. But among these billions, a few coins slipped through with something extraordinary, something that would turn them from everyday pocket change into a hidden treasure. A tiny imperfection in the die, a subtle doubling in the letters, Liberty, or, In God We Trust, or even a specific detail on Lincoln's ear that only the most eagle-eyed collectors notice. Imagine all that value sitting there, unseen by millions. Let's rewind for a moment. Picture the mid-1980s, big hair, cassette tapes, and the early whispers of personal computers. While the world was dancing to Michael Jackson's Thriller, a handful of pennies quietly rolled out of the mint carrying secrets no one could have imagined. One day, these coins would become legends, whispered about in collector circles, hunted at estate sales, and treasured at coin conventions. They became the centerpieces of passionate collections, symbols of both human error and unimaginable fortune. But what exactly makes the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln cent so desirable? It's not just age. It's the story. The no-mint mark versions were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, but certain 1984 cents came with a dramatic doubling error, especially the so-called doubled ear variety. Under magnification, Lincoln's ear looks as if it has an eerie echo, almost like a ghost shadow. That doubling, almost invisible to the untrained eye, is the golden ticket. It turns a mundane penny into a masterpiece worth up to $979,000 to the right collector. Can you imagine holding something that valuable in the palm of your hand, something you might have overlooked 1,000 times? I know what you're thinking: how would I even begin to recognize this coin? Could I have one right now? The fear of missing out can keep you up at night. The thought that you might unknowingly spend away a small fortune for a candy bar. It's almost paralyzing. But that's exactly why we're here today. You see, the key lies in the details. To start, check for that doubling on Lincoln's ear. It looks like an extra curve or outline right behind the main ear. Next, examine the inscriptions. Any distortion, stretching, or ghost-like shadows around Liberty or In God We Trust should set off alarm bells in your mind. It's like staring at a piece of art. Only those who study closely can see the hidden brilliance. Collectors have spent decades searching, sometimes going through hundreds of rolls of pennies just to catch a glimpse of that rare doubling. Why? Because they know that finding just one can mean the difference between an ordinary life and a new chapter filled with luxury and freedom. Imagine paying off your mortgage, traveling the world first class, or gifting your children a future they could only dream of, all thanks to one coin. And here's the part that gives me chills every time: these coins are still out there. They haven't all been found. Somewhere, right now, one might be waiting inside an old coffee can, a forgotten piggy bank, or tucked away in a grandparent's attic. Every time you hear coins clinking together, every time you see a jar filled with pennies, there's a tiny chance that you're standing inches away from a life-altering discovery. This is not just about coins, it's about the dream of sudden freedom. The idea that in one heartbeat, your ordinary life can transform. That's the magic these 1984 pennies hold. And that's why collectors, dealers, and even everyday folks are scouring yard sales, flea markets, and their own homes, hoping to become the next person to join that tiny circle of lucky finders. So what should you do now? Tonight, take a flashlight, a magnifying glass, and a quiet moment alone with your coins. Listen to your heartbeat as you examine each penny, wondering, could this be the one? Feel the excitement surge through your veins as you realize you're holding the power to rewrite your destiny, because in the world of coin collecting, it's not always the loudest or shiniest pieces that hold the greatest value. Sometimes, it's the humble, overlooked penny that changes everything. And for the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, especially those with the doubled ear, the potential is staggering, up to $979,000. So don't let that future slip through your fingers. Don't let your $1,000,000 penny become someone else's jackpot. Start looking now. Every moment you wait, someone else might find it first. And remember, it only takes one coin to change your entire story. The next time you hear a penny hit the floor, don't ignore it. That small sound could be the whisper of your next great adventure. It's not just about finding a coin, it's about discovering a new life waiting on the other side of that copper disc. Are you ready to uncover yours? Coin that might be resting quietly in an old jar, in your kitchen drawer, or sitting unnoticed in a dusty box in your attic. The 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a penny that some collectors have secretly sold for as high as $976,000. Can you even imagine what that kind of money would do for you? Pay off every debt, buy your dream house, or finally take that once-in-a-lifetime trip around the world. But here's the terrifying part, most people who own this coin will never know they're sitting on a fortune. They'll spend it at a gas station or lose it under a couch cushion, never realizing they just threw away the keys to a new life. Why is this particular 1986 penny so unbelievably valuable? Let's peel back the layers of this quiet American legend. In 1986, the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies, each with its own little signature, that tiny mint mark below the date. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, each left its fingerprint on the nation's coins. But a very small batch of 1986 Lincoln cents slipped through without any mint mark at all. These error coins were accidental phantoms, ghost pennies that escaped detection and spread silently across America. Collectors now whisper about them in hushed tones, because only a few lucky souls have ever found one in pristine condition. Now, take a moment and think about this. How many pennies have you tossed aside without a second glance? How many times have you shrugged off pocket change, assuming it was worthless? That tiny oversight could be the difference between an ordinary life and a legacy that changes your family forever. It sounds almost mythical, doesn't it? A single cent worth nearly $1,000,000, but it's not a fairy tale. It's happening right now, in garages and basements across the country. There was a man in Missouri who found one in an old coffee can, a coin so untouched, it looked like it had just left the mint. That single discovery turned into a check for nearly $976,000 at a private auction. Imagine the shock. The disbelief. And then the realization that his life would never be the same again. But here's where the story tightens its grip on your heart. This isn't about luck. This is about knowledge, awareness, and the courage to look closely. Think of the 1986 no-mint mark penny as a test of who dares to look beyond the obvious, to question what others ignore. Because if you don't, someone else will. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked closely at your pennies? When did you last hold one up to the light, check the date, examine every detail like it was a secret map? Most people never do. Most people never realize that every small, seemingly ordinary object in their life could carry an extraordinary secret, and that's what separates the dreamers from the doers. So, how do you know if you have this rare 1986 no-mint mark penny hiding among your coins? Start by picking up every 1986 penny you can find. Hold it carefully. Check right below the date on the front, that's where the mint mark should be. If you see a tiny D, or an S, or even a faint P, you move on. But if you find nothing at all, no letter, just an empty space, your heart should start racing. Because you might be holding a piece of American numismatic history, but don't celebrate too soon. Condition is everything. Even the smallest scratch or smudge can drop the value dramatically. The real jackpot lies in a coin that looks untouched, like it slept through decades in a velvet box. That I want you to imagine the moment you realize you're holding it. Your fingers trembling, your mind racing. You think about your family, your dreams, your fears, all crashing together in a tidal wave of emotion. Because that penny could mean freedom, the end of financial worry, the ability to live life on your own terms. Imagine telling your spouse, your kids, your closest friends. The shock on their faces. The tears. The laughter. The late-night conversations about what to do next. The quiet moments when you finally feel safe enough to believe you deserve this miracle, and that is why this story is not just about a coin. It's about hope, about second chances, about the kind of luck that finds you only when you dare to look. So tonight, when the house is quiet and you have a moment to yourself, I want you to pull out that old jar of coins. Dig through every dusty box. Take your time. Because what you find could change everything. That if you discover that elusive 1986 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, hold it tight. Protect it. And then, when you're ready, reach out to a trusted coin appraiser or auction house. Get it graded professionally. Let the experts confirm your treasure, and when the day comes that you cash that check, when you stand in front of your new home or stare out at the ocean from the deck of your yacht, you'll remember this moment. The night you chose to believe in something extraordinary. The night you listened to that small voice telling you, maybe, just maybe, this time, it's you. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers like so many forgotten coins. Your $1,000,000 penny could be closer than you think. All you have to do is look. They say the smallest things can hold the biggest secrets. Imagine walking past a dusty old jar in your attic, coins jingling inside, forgotten for decades. But what if I told you that inside that jar might be a single copper penny worth up to $972,000? Yes, a single penny. And no, this isn't a fairy tale. It's a true story that's been quietly unfolding in basements and kitchen drawers across America. The 1988 Lincoln 1-cent penny without a mint mark, a coin so ordinary it disappears in plain sight. Most people toss it aside without a second thought, never realizing it could be their golden ticket to a life they've only dreamed of. What would you do if you suddenly had nearly $1,000,000 in your hand? Would you quit your job, pay off every debt, travel the world, or finally buy that lake house you've been staring at on your phone every night? Hold that thought, because tonight, we're diving into a world hidden beneath copper and history, a world that could change your destiny forever. You see, in 1988, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced millions of these pennies. No mint mark, just Lincoln's calm, knowing face staring back at you. But there's a secret almost no one knows. Due to a die transition error, a tiny number of these coins were struck using an older reverse design meant for proof coins. Only a handful escaped into circulation, making them some of the rarest modern pennies ever minted. This error created subtle differences that collectors would kill to own, and the market now whispers about prices soaring beyond $972,000 for high-grade examples. Now imagine this, you're holding a handful of pennies from a rainy day jar, and you feel that odd surge of excitement. Could this be the one? Your heart beats a little faster. This isn't just metal. It's a key to a new chapter of your life. A single 1988 no-mint mark penny recently shocked the auction world when it shattered records. Collectors fought fiercely, their paddles slicing through the air like swords, desperate to claim this hidden treasure. But wait, before you run to your kitchen and start dumping every penny jar on the floor, there's more to know. The question is, how do you identify this life-changing penny? How do you separate it from the billions of ordinary ones that flood your pocket every day? The answer lies in a tiny detail. Look closely at the reverse side, where Lincoln's memorial stands. A rare 1988 penny will show remnants of the 1989 design. It's a subtle transition mark, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but when you find it, it's like striking gold in your backyard. Picture this, you're on your porch, sipping coffee, scrolling through old coins. Suddenly, you see that faint marking, that slight difference. Your hands tremble, your breath catches, and for one electric moment, time stops. Your mind starts spinning, the bills you could pay, the dreams you could finally grab with both hands. All from a penny. Why do we chase these coins? Because we're all searching for that moment. The moment when life surprises us. The moment when something so small cracks open a door to freedom. The 1988 penny without a mint mark isn't just metal, it's a symbol. A reminder that hidden value exists everywhere, sometimes in our own homes, sometimes in our pockets, sometimes even in the loose change we almost give away. People think wealth only comes from big investments, risky stocks, or starting businesses from scratch. But sometimes, it comes from paying attention to the smallest details. Have you ever wondered how many times you might have held this penny and let it slip away? What if you could rewind every moment you spent a penny without checking it first? How different would your life look right now? Let's talk about your next step. Go to your stash, your piggy banks, that old coffee can under your bed. Grab every penny from 1988 without a mint mark and examine it under a magnifying glass. Study the memorial. Feel the weight of possibility in your hand. If you find the transition error, you're looking at a small copper disc that could unlock nearly $1 million of freedom. The best part? This isn't just about money. It's about reclaiming power over your life, over your time. It's about waking up tomorrow knowing you never have to clock in at a job you hate again. It's about turning a story you thought was impossible into your reality. And all it takes is curiosity, patience, and a little luck. This coin is more than a collector's dream. It's a spark for anyone desperate to break out of the endless cycle, the endless bills, the sleepless nights, the heavy weight of what-ifs. When you hold this penny, you hold a story of American mistakes, human errors, and unexpected miracles. You hold a future you never saw coming. Right now, someone out there is turning on their flashlight, combing through jars, their hands shaking with excitement. Why not you? Why not today? The door is wide open. All you need to do is walk through it. Your $1 million penny could be waiting for you in the most unexpected place. This isn't just another coin video. This is your wake-up call. A call to dream bigger, to believe that even the smallest, most overlooked thing can hold unimaginable power. Check every penny. Tell your family, your friends, your neighbors. Spread the word, because opportunity doesn't knock twice. So, tonight, as you lie in bed, think about that little copper coin. Think about how close you might already be to changing your life forever. And when you wake up tomorrow, don't just go through the motions. Go find your freedom. Because maybe, just maybe, your $972,000 penny is already waiting for you, quietly, patiently, in the palm of your hand. We're diving into the secrets of the 1992 Lincoln cent. But this isn't just any penny. It's a coin that's turned ordinary Americans into overnight millionaires, all because they noticed one tiny detail that the entire world missed. You might be wondering. How could a single cent ever be worth more than a new Lamborghini? Why would collectors wage silent bidding wars in dark auction halls, throwing down hundreds of thousands of dollars for a coin no bigger than your thumbnail? Well, buckle up. Because by the end of this story, you might realize you've been sitting on a goldmine all along. That in 1992, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies, or so people thought. But buried deep inside that massive mintage, there was an error so subtle it slipped right under the radar of almost every collector. Imagine thousands of eyes looking straight at it, and nobody seeing the treasure hiding in plain sight. That's the magic of the 1992 close AM penny. Yes, it's called the close AM, because the letters A and M in America are almost touching, unlike the standard wide spacing. This small difference, smaller than a hair's width, turned an ordinary cent into a rare gem worth up to $969,000 at auction. Can you imagine the moment someone discovers this by accident? Picture yourself rummaging through a jar of old coins, maybe passed down from your grandfather, and suddenly you catch a slight difference in the design. Your heart starts racing. Your palms get sweaty. Because that single penny could transform your entire life story. You're no longer just another face in the crowd, you're the one who found the lost treasure everyone else missed. But wait, what makes this coin so valuable? The truth is, this was never supposed to happen. The close AM reverse design was meant for proof coins, not regular circulation pennies. Yet somehow, a tiny batch slipped out of the mint unnoticed. A once-in-a-lifetime mistake. Think about it, how many times have you wondered if luck was real? How many times did you dream of finding that one chance to escape the grind, the 9 to 5, the endless bills stacking up on your kitchen table? This penny might be that chance. Some collectors spend decades scouring rolls of coins just to catch a glimpse of this error. Many have given up, thinking they'll never find it. But you? You're here right now, learning the truth before the rest of the world catches up. You're closer than you think. Now, let's talk value. In 2012, one of these elusive 1992 close AM pennies sold for over $24,000 in a major auction. But today, with demand exploding and fewer high-grade examples being found, experts say a perfect specimen could push beyond $969,000. Just let that sink in. A single cent, something most people toss on the sidewalk without a second thought, could be worth more than your house, your car, and maybe even your entire retirement savings combined. Have you ever asked yourself, what would I do if I suddenly had $1 million? Would you finally quit that draining job? Would you travel the world? Or would you finally pay off that mountain of debt that's been keeping you up at night? That fantasy isn't so far away anymore. It's sitting in a dusty jar, in a shoebox, or perhaps in your pocket right now, but here's where the real challenge begins. How can you tell if your penny is the one? Most people rush, hoping to get rich quick, and they overlook the smallest clues. If you truly want to become one of the few who cash in, you have to become a detective. You need a magnifying glass, a steady hand, and patience. Look carefully at the AM in America. If they're almost touching, you might just have stumbled upon the treasure of a lifetime, and here's a warning, counterfeiters know the value of this coin, too. They're out there, creating fake errors to scam desperate dreamers. So, always get your coin authenticated by a trusted grading service before even thinking of listing it. Because when we're talking about nearly $1 million, there's no room for mistakes. Every day, more and more people are waking up to the hidden fortunes in their old change. But there's a ticking clock. As collectors snatch up the last few unclaimed examples, your window to act is closing fast. You don't want to be the person who says, I had one of those once, but I didn't know. You want to be the person who smiles as the check clears, who finally breathes freely, who lives without limits. Imagine holding that check in your hand. Imagine the relief of knowing you never have to worry about money again. All because of a single, forgotten penny. Isn't it incredible how fate can turn in an instant? How one ordinary day can become the day your entire life changes forever. So tonight, when you get home, don't just toss your spare change into a jar and forget it. Dump it out. Spread those pennies across your table. Turn on a bright light and look closer than you ever have before. Because somewhere in there, hidden among the countless copper faces, might be the key to your freedom. The 1992 Lincoln Close AM penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. A whisper from the universe saying, your moment is here. Will you listen? Or will you let it slip away like so many others have? Your future might be waiting in the palm of your hand right now. But it's up to you to decide, are you going to be the one who cashes in, or the one who watches someone else claim your dream? Check your pennies. Check them tonight. And maybe, just maybe, tomorrow, you'll wake up a millionaire. Rummaging through an old coffee can of pennies you nearly threw away, and finding a single coin so powerful it could erase every debt you've ever had, send your kids to college, and let you retire on a sun-soaked beach before the year ends. What if I told you that coin might already be hiding in your home, silently waiting to change your life forever? This isn't a fantasy. It's a real, tangible possibility, all hidden in a tiny, copper circle from 1994 with no mint mark. Most people think pennies are worthless. We toss them in drawers, leave them on gas station counters, or forget them under car seats. But what if the very thing you thought was worthless is actually your golden ticket? A single 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has been estimated to fetch up to $966,000 at private auctions. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $1 million for something you might have in your pocket right now. But why is this penny so special? Why do collectors practically fight over it as if it's the last slice of heaven on earth? Let's rewind. In 1994, millions of pennies rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark. On the surface, they look identical to every other copper coin jingling around in old piggy banks. But hidden among them are a few miraculous errors, slight misalignments, double dies, and planchet mistakes that transformed ordinary coins into priceless relics. One such rare penny, discovered just a few years ago, caused a storm in the collecting world. It had a rare double die on Lincoln's portrait and a tiny, almost invisible die crack on the reverse. That single combination catapulted its value to an unimaginable level. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you actually looked at a penny instead of dismissing it as spare change? Imagine pulling out an old jar from your garage and spotting that subtle doubling on the date or a mysterious line above the Lincoln Memorial. Your heart starts pounding, your palms sweat, and in that instant, you realize your entire destiny could shift. Some people might laugh and say, "It's just a penny, who cares?" But let me ask you, if you knew a single penny could pay off your mortgage, buy your dream car, or let you spend every sunset from a private yacht, would you still ignore it? Or would you look a little closer, feel the weight of possibility in your hand, and see beyond the copper surface? Collectors crave these rare 1994 no-mint mark pennies like treasure hunters seek lost cities. The fierce bidding wars, the hushed private deals behind closed doors, all fueled by a coin so elusive that even experienced dealers might never touch one in their lifetime. When one finally appears, it's like a ghost sighting. Everyone wants to claim it, everyone wants a piece of the magic. Picture this: you walk into an auction hall, coin in hand. You watch as the crowd hushes, eyes fixed on that tiny disc you once ignored in your kitchen drawer. The auctioneer starts at $50,000. Hands shoot up. 100,000. 200,000. Your knees go weak, your vision narrows, and as the final bid slams down at $966,000, you realize you've just stepped into a life you only dreamed of. How can you tell if your 1994 penny is the one? Start by examining Lincoln's face carefully. Use a magnifying glass and look for doubling on his eyes, nose, or beard, subtle shifts that scream rarity. Flip the coin. Scan the Lincoln Memorial for hairline cracks or misplaced columns. These microscopic clues are your golden map. But don't rush, collectors have spent years studying these details, and the reward is only for those patient and precise enough to look. You don't need to be a professional numismatist or a museum curator. You just need curiosity and the willingness to dig deeper than anyone else. Because right now, hidden inside a dusty jar or an old sock drawer, you might already own the key to $1 million escape. Think about what you'd do with that money. Would you buy your dream house, travel the world, help your family? Or maybe you'd simply walk into work the next day, hand in your resignation letter, and watch your boss's jaw drop to the floor. That feeling, that electric rush of freedom, is what makes this penny more than just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of second chances, hidden opportunities, and the power of curiosity. But here's the catch: time is ticking. With every day that passes, these rare pennies get scooped up by collectors, vanish into private vaults, or are lost forever. The longer you wait, the fewer chances you have to find your piece of history. Imagine hearing that your neighbor found one last week and is now sipping cocktails on a beach in Maui, while you keep ignoring that jar of coins gathering dust in your attic. It's a dangerous game of what if. What if you miss your chance? What if you were just one careful glance away from rewriting your entire life story? Would you forgive yourself, or would that regret gnaw at you forever? I'm not just telling you to check your pennies, I'm urging you to open your eyes to the possibilities that hide in plain sight. Because sometimes, the smallest, most overlooked things can hold the greatest power. The power to change your destiny, to set you free, to let you live without limits. Tonight, when the world quiets down and you're alone with your thoughts, ask yourself, is there a 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in my house right now that could make me a millionaire? And if there is, what's stopping me from finding it? Your future could be waiting in the smallest places. Will you have the courage to look? Or will you let the next $1 million story belong to someone else? The choice is yours. But remember, sometimes, a single penny is all it takes to unlock the life you've always wanted. This isn't a fantasy. Right now, sitting silently in drawers and dusty jars across America, there are 2002 mint mark Lincoln pennies hiding a secret so powerful that collectors are paying up to $960,000 for a single piece. You heard me right. One penny, nearly $1 million. Now, ask yourself, what would you do if you discovered you owned this tiny copper miracle? Would you finally pay off that mortgage? travel the world first class. Or maybe, just maybe, disappear into a peaceful life by the ocean, far away from stress and worry. But before we get lost in that dream, let me ask you, have you ever truly looked at your pennies? Or have you been blindly spending what might be the single key to your financial freedom? Tonight, we reveal a story that could rewrite your future forever. Back in 2002, millions of pennies flowed out of the Denver Mint. Most of them slipped into circulation without a second thought. But hidden among them was a batch struck with a shocking, microscopic mistake, a misalignment so slight that even seasoned collectors missed it for years. These rare error pennies display a doubling on Lincoln's ear or subtle misprints on the lettering, the kind of detail that turns an ordinary cent into a priceless treasure. Can you imagine how many hands these pennies have passed through? How many cash registers, pockets, and piggy banks? Each time, escaping unnoticed, like a ghost hiding in plain sight. The idea that you might already possess one of these feels almost like fate tapping on your shoulder, whispering, "Check your coins tonight." But how did these errors happen? In the frenzy of mass production, a die, the metal stamp that imprints the design, shifted ever so slightly. In those chaotic moments, a few coins were born different. Unique. And uniqueness is exactly what collectors crave. What's even more thrilling is that most people don't even believe such a penny exists. That's exactly why these coins command prices that would make Wall Street brokers sweat. The last verified auction for a pristine error 2002 penny shocked everyone, selling for over $960,000. Think about it, a single cent outpacing the value of a luxury yacht or a mansion in the suburbs. Imagine the shock on your neighbor's face when you tell them you cashed in a penny for nearly $1 million. The disbelief. The envy. The pure rush of freedom you'd feel. So now you're asking, how do I know if I have this life-changing penny? Tonight, I'll reveal what no one else is willing to tell you. First, grab a magnifying glass. Inspect Lincoln's ear closely. A doubling or slight shadow-like line is your first clue. Check the letters, Liberty, and the date, 2002. Any extra thickness or ghosting around the edges could be your golden ticket, but don't stop there. Many collectors rush and misjudge. The true value lies in confirming it's a Denver Mint coin. Look for that tiny D below the date. This mark alone filters out millions of ordinary coins, and here's the kicker. Even coins in circulated condition can fetch mind-boggling prices if the error is clear and the surfaces are well preserved. This isn't just for the ultra-rare, pristine specimens sitting in museum vaults. You might have a used, slightly worn penny in your car cup holder that holds the key to your next adventure. Now, let me ask you, would you rather keep dreaming about a better life, or actually do something tonight that could change everything? Because millions of people will watch this and simply move on. They'll forget. They'll let that chance slip away. But a few, a very few, will act. They'll check. They'll research. And one of them might discover a penny that turns them into the next overnight millionaire. This isn't about luck. It's about taking control. About looking at something as small as a penny and seeing a new chapter for your family. A chapter where money worries dissolve and possibilities open like sunrise on the horizon. Picture yourself tomorrow morning. You wake up, pour your coffee, and smile because you know you did something no one else dared to do. You flipped through your pennies, found that hidden error, and now you hold a check worth $960,000 in your trembling hands. Your heart pounds with a mix of fear and euphoria. In that moment, life shifts forever. So I challenge you tonight. Dig into those old jars. Empty those piggy banks. Check that dusty box in your garage. The 2002 Mint Mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a doorway. A doorway to freedom, to luxury, to a story you'll tell for generations. But hurry. Every day you wait is another day someone else might discover the treasure meant for you. Don't let that be your regret. Let it be your victory, because in the end, it's not about the penny. It's about the life it unlocks. And tonight, that life might just begin with you.